Greetings, Brett to Hoedt here from Hoettville Communications, talking about the core, the foundation of all your online communications. And I'm not talking about social media, I'm not even talking about email, I'm talking about boring old websites. Not many people talk about them anymore, but they are still the fundamental part of your online communications, and they need to be good. And I haven't looked at your website, but the chances are it isn't as good as it could be, as it should be. I'd like you to think of your website as the only 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week employee that can do just about everything. So I want to lift the standards of your expectations for websites and the performance of your websites. And let's look at how we're going to do exactly that. The first question to ask is, what do you want your website to do for you? If you were employing a real-life human, you would probably come up with some sort of job description, key selection criteria. With your website, it's exactly the same. What do you want it to do? Do you want it to take membership applications, donations, bookings? Of course you do. Do you want it to lessen administration time for the real live human beings in your organization? I sure hope so. Do you want it to introduce strangers to the key people in your organization? Do you want it to act as a sort of ambassador? I presume you want it to act as a spruiker. And what I mean by that is Google can help you be introduced to all sorts of people if your website is optimized enough. So we're going to talk about all of that. The bottom line is, though, you need to have high expectations of your website and specific expectations of your website. Otherwise, it just won't happen. I want to highlight the difference between telling and selling. Your website probably does tell people about your organization, about your sport, about opportunities to join in, contribute, volunteer, donate, support. How good a job does it do at selling that idea? There's a big difference between saying you can participate with us compared to offering testimonials, offering videos, speeding up the process of registration or enrollment or donation or support. That's what a better website does as opposed to a weaker website. It's got to sell, and then it's got to reduce the friction, lower the barriers between people thinking about doing something and actually doing it. We talk about conversion in marketing. A high conversion rate means that people who come considering your proposition actually get wowed by your proposition and actually start processing themselves through your chain of registration, of membership, of donation. Your second big consideration is, of course, your audiences. Who are you aiming at? Because they're likely to be very, very different people. Strangers, first-time visitors, parents or family members, they might be important to you. Older people, other unique groups, called groups, people with disabilities, people from non-Anglo-Celtic backgrounds, who knows? And of course, one of your key memberships are people who already are connected to you. Think about those different audiences and consider how you can best serve them. What do they need to know? What's important to them? What sort of processes can you make frictionless via your website? If you list maybe 5 key audiences, think about the questions they might have, the demands they might have of your website. Look at your website. Is it answering their questions? Is it serving their needs? Probably not. And there might be some really important audiences that you are missing entirely. And if there is an important audience, maybe the first-time visitor or the repeat visitor, the parents, whoever it is, please make it real easy for that audience to come to your website for the first time, possibly looking at your device on a handheld phone as they're sitting at the tram stop. Make it really obvious where on your website they should go to get what they need. That's the difference between a website that's 6 out of 10 compared to a website that's 8 out of 10. So what makes an 8 out of 10 website worthy of the score of 8? It's got to have some stuff people want to find. News is really important. And this is a demand on people such as you, because news never stops. You might not update your website daily, but if you're updating your website less than every couple of weeks, every week, something's wrong. If I visit your website and I see that it's been a long time between updates, it sends a very quick message to me that, you guys aren't so vibrant, you're not across the issues in your sector. That is super important. I also want online forms. This seems really simple, but I, as a web developer, have put online forms allowing people to register their interest in becoming a member, a donor, a participant, a client. Instead of saying, please call me, you say, please fill in the online form. That has actually increased the number of inquiries, because at 11 o'clock at night, when people are hot to trot, they can fill in the form rather than have to wait for, heaven forbid, the next morning, 9 a.m. when your phone lines are open. That's a way to increase conversion. It's a way to respect people's wishes and make it easy and frictionless for them to interact with you. I'd love to see more videos like this. Videos help you introduce strangers to your key people, maybe your facilities. Give people a real sense of your organization, of your sport, of your culture. Words can only go so far, and we all know pictures are worth 1,000. If they're moving pictures, it's worth even more. Here is the nerdiest part of my advice. When you are developing your next website, pay really close attention to the content management system, or CMS. This is the technology used to build your website, to insert the pictures, insert the words, create a new page, create the navigation, to store the publications. It's the technology that helps you build your website. The decision as to which content management system you use will either be a help or a hindrance for about 8 years, the entire lifespan of your website. It will mean that you don't want to go into your website and update it, or you're happy to do it. It'll mean that you need outside expertise, or you can do it yourself with minimal training from your phone or mobile device for free. There are lots of different content management systems, and there's not one perfect and best one, of course. I use WordPress, and I use WordPress because it is the most popular content management system, which means there's a lot of support and understanding of the system. There's also lots of independent people making little apps, if you like, to do certain features or create certain possibilities on your website. When you bought your mobile phone, it came with technology, but no doubt since then you've downloaded extra apps to do new things on your phone. It's the same with your website. And most developers most often make their little apps, their little extra technologies to work well with WordPress. There are things like Drupal and Joomla. That might be fine. You might be familiar with them and love them. That's cool. WordPress, though, gives you a huge range of templates to start with, which makes your website look good. Biggest range of apps which you can bolt onto your website, which means there's more functionality for your website. And if you've got any problem, you can just go to Google and find an answer, because there are nerds all around the globe working with WordPress even as we speak. And best of all, it is simple to use. Standing here, I could make a new update on a WordPress website, go to a website, enter username and password, press dashboard, press new post, fill in a form essentially, insert a picture, press update. Literally, you can have a new update on your website within 3 minutes without any great specialized knowledge at all, from the palm of your hand for free. If your website can't do that, think again. And when you are talking to your website developer, be very wary. They might have a preferred content management system. Investigate it and do the hard yards to say to someone who's really got a website using that CMS, what's it like? And if any website developer says, oh, I've got my own content management system and you just pay me a monthly fee, and forget it. That is weird. That's like a builder of a house saying, I've got my own special building materials that I'll build you a house with. You just have to keep paying me forever. That is madness. Back out of the room slowly. WordPress or something very common, very boring, that will be the smartest decision you ever made, I promise. I mentioned it before and I'll mention it again, search engine optimization, SEO, which essentially means getting Google to recommend you to the right people at the right time, so you have lots of traffic visiting your website. You don't want to be lonely. SEO doesn't happen by accident. You need to be aware of it. You need to be aware of it when you build your website in the first place, and after the website is launched, you need to do certain things to get good Google results. Most website developers don't care about SEO. They will build you a website that looks good, that works well, that meets your demands, tick. But they won't do things like enter alt tags with every image. Is that described to Google's robots? The name that every page gets up at the top of the screen, that tells Google what that page is about. When you insert a video, you get a chance to tell Google what that video is all about. All of those little things add up to good search engine optimization. You've got to be aware of SEO enough so that you can put enough pressure on your website developer to say, hey, thanks for developing the website, but we do want it to rank well for these search terms. Now, you can go to the nth degree to ensure good SEO, or you can do the basics. I'm just a basics guy to begin with. Also, once that website's launched and it's your baby, you need to be updating that website with significant, high-quality content. Google knows now what's low-quality content and what's high-quality content. It's decided certain characteristics imply that content is high quality, thus it's worth recommending. For instance, if you're trying to create a page about how to make the perfect coffee, you might create a page title called www.example.com/how to make a great coffee. Then you might create blog posts about how to make a great coffee using that terminology. You might insert not one but 3 images into that text. And when you insert each of those images, guess what? You're going to insert a little tag that's not visible to the naked eye that tells Google that each of those images relates to how to make a great coffee. And you won't do this just once. You'll do it on a regular basis to send those little signals to Google's robots that this website or this page of the website is all about how to make a great coffee. And preferably, you'll also have a geographical reference as well. So briefly about SEO, it matters. It can introduce you to new people that don't know you but should know you. The developer has a role to play, and unless you make a big effort to make your developer aware of SEO, 95% of the time, the developer won't care. And after it's launched, it's your responsibility to create content that clearly signals to Google what the content is about. And by the way, the good news is content that is good for Google is usually content that's good for your readers, your visitors, because they don't want to see a 200-word article. They probably want a 600-word article. They want to be able to find it and understand it. They want it to be attractive and appealing. Websites, in summary, still the absolute core of your online communications. Very few people are going to end up engaging with you without a trip to your website in the early and vital stages. It's not as sexy as social media. It may not even be as sexy as email, but I promise you it is still the fundamental and it's within your control. Good luck.